Hi, my name is David. This is my presentation on my persuasive speech. Here is my audience, Mr. Justin, Mr. Bryce, Miss Emily, Mr. Brandon, and Miss Ashley. 5 people. All right, go ahead and adjust that.
All right.
Just make sure you can get the TV in there as well.
Gotcha. We are good.
All right. Now, thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. Many politicians say that our economy needs improvement. They say that our debt is too vast. And then how can we change this? Is this even possible? Does it seem impossible? No, there's actually a great solution. Legalization of recreational marijuana. Now, marijuana is endorsed by many celebrities who are in the spotlight, like Martha Stewart, who says, "Of course I know how to roll a joint." Somebody you wouldn't expect. Now, if recreational marijuana was legalized, it would create vast funds through taxes, and it would reduce the amount of money spent through the court systems and for marijuana-related crimes. So, the illegality of cannabis is outrageous, an impediment to full utilization of a drug which helps produce the serenity and insight, sensitivity, and fellowship so desperately needed in this increasingly mad and dangerous world. And this is by Carl Sagan. If you do not know about Carl Sagan was a huge pioneer in astronomy and physics. Now, someone so accomplished and intelligent would not endorse marijuana if it was detrimental to our health. Now, according to studies from the Harvard Medical School, marijuana can relax you. It can increase your appetite, but I'm sure you already know that. What you do not know is it fights multiple sclerosis. It can help people with epilepsy and other psychiatric disorders. It is much more beneficial to you than it is harmful. So it's twice as likely for one to develop lung cancer compared to those who do not smoke. So there is always side effects for smoking anything. But compared to cigarettes are 15 times more likely to develop cancer compared to marijuana. And even alcohol-related deaths are 100 times riskier than marijuana-related deaths. And this is according to the Technical University of Dresden in Germany. Medicinal marijuana has recently been legalized in Florida, but we are still a ways away from legislating recreational usage. Fortunately, Colorado has already paved the way and gone through this process, and we can look to them for comparative results. According to the Colorado government website, when retail marijuana became available in 2014, they generated $67.5 million through tax revenue. In 2015, they received $130.4 million. In 2016, they received $193.6 million. And in 2017, $205 million. So that is a total of $596.5 million generated just through taxation of marijuana. Now, that is just one state alone. Imagine if all of the United States did this. Then there would be $29.8 billion of tax revenue available just from taxing marijuana. That's truly a vast amount of funds created from something enjoyable, right? Now imagine all the good that we can do with that, and how can we repair our infrastructure. And another area that can be improved upon through the legalization of recreational marijuana is through our court system. So a study done by the American Civil Liberties Union found that in 2010, $3.6 billion were spent on marijuana possession charges. They have also estimated that in the following 6 years, $20 billion would have been spent on enforcing those laws. Now, the number of marijuana arrests in 2008 were 847,000 approximately, while violent crimes such as murder, assault, and battery were at 595,000. Now, does that make sense to you? Doesn't make any sense. It seems like a huge waste of money. So there would be also additional benefits for allowing these people to stay with their families, for allowing them to keep their jobs, and even allowing them to establish local businesses. You know, there's a lot of people who want to set up their own smoke shops and generate tax revenues, generate income, generate jobs. To conclude, there would be $20 billion that would not be wasted and can be used towards our infrastructure. In a similar fashion, marijuana would also combat the growing opioid epidemic coming to our nation. So I have found in my study of these patients that cannabis is really a safe, effective, and non-toxic alternative to many standard medications. And this is Philip Denny, who is a doctor. Chronic pain is also a big problem that affects many Americans, 100 million Americans at that. And it costs upwards to $600 billion according to the Institute of Medicine. Now, these patients then become at risk of developing an addiction to opioid painkillers, such as oxycodone and Vicodin. This problem is uniquely a United States problem. We constitute maybe less than 5% of the population in the world. However, we constitute more than 80% of opioid usage in the entire world. Does that make sense? No. That's why doctors are pushing for recreational marijuana, medicinal marijuana, because patients prefer something natural, something they don't get addicted to, something that will increase their appetite, that rehabilitates their whole system. So, according to a recent study done by the Surgeon General, $442 billion were spent on misuse of opioid prescription drugs and alcohol. $442 billion, people. That is the amount of money that is, I can't even fathom how much that is. So in conclusion, putting all of the numbers together, we would save $442 billion in the opioid epidemic itself, $20 billion in the core systems for marijuana-related crimes. Now, that's $462 billion, and add the $29.8 billion of profit, which now equal a grand total of $491.8 billion. If we just round it up to $500 billion, our debt can then be repaid, and our debt is currently $18.96 trillion or $19 trillion. Huge, huge amount. But with just what we make from marijuana, we can pay it off in 38 years, compared to what the Social Security Administration has figured out is how much? 398 million years it would take to pay off our debt currently. But if we legalize marijuana, it would only take 38 years. If we pay off our debt, what happens to our economy?
Boost.
It boosts up because our dollar has more value. So now, I'm sure you're thinking, well, what can we do, really? Well, it actually all starts with you. You need to use your American right for the betterment of America by voting. Send letters to the senators, send letters to congressmen, voice your concerns, show them how you feel. We can do it. Colorado has already done it. All we need to do is just follow in their footsteps. And when it comes time to have to vote for this bill to pass for Florida and for all states, we need to vote yes. We need to acknowledge that this is better for our economy than it is to keep it the way it is. So all we need to do is follow and vote. Thank you.